Hi guys, I'm here with Teo.
Hey guys.
Fellow legal.
I just post content on TikTok.
Yeah.
It happens to be
Content
legal.
creator.
Yeah.
Duh.
We're here today to talk to you about vacation schemes, how to get onto them, what to do, yeah, everything to do with them. So Teo and I.
Should we mention that? No one gets that pre-clout.
Yeah, that's true.
Whatever don't pay me, don't faze me.
We have both done vacation schemes, which is why we thought it's a good topic to talk about, especially with application season starting.
Yeah.
You want to know exactly how to get onto vacation schemes, what you should do on vacation schemes to perform well, what our experiences were on the vacation schemes. So, Teo, how was your vacation scheme?
Well, I did a vacation scheme with a much smaller firm.
Okay.
So it wasn't your typical city
Pearson Spectre lit.
big firm. And I really did enjoy it. So they practiced in areas such as family, private client, dispute resolution.
I mean, I was following on Instagram and like doing your polls for guessing where you were going each department, and I got every single one of them on, I think.
It was impossible to guess. I really enjoyed it. There was areas of law that I liked way more than I thought I would. So for example, property law is a lot more interesting than legal.
That's a hot take.
Property law is a lot more interesting
Bombastic side eye.
in practice than it is learning it.
Okay, girl.
I did enjoy family law because that's what I thought I wanted to specialize in. But I think in practice, it was good for me to get a taste of what the reality was like, because it's not as interesting as I thought it was in my head. Doesn't mean it's not still interesting. The one that I really struggled with was definitely private client. There's so much maths involved.
Hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
There's so much maths involved when it comes to private client. Yes, like when it comes to you finding out how much tax they need, how much their gifts need, like there's so many different types of tax when it comes to individual private clients.
Yeah.
I hated trying to figure it out. I hated doing the maths. I did not enjoy that. It's not for me.
So, how long was your vacation scheme?
So my vacation scheme was 5 days.
Okay,
Yeah.
so like a week.
Yeah, a week.
And then how many departments did you rotate through?
So 5 different departments.
Okay.
Yeah, one every different day.
Okay, how was that, like throwing into the deep end, I guess, every single day?
It was scary. It was scary. To be fair, it wasn't too daunting unless I didn't understand the task. That would be where I might be like a little bit like, oh, I'm gonna ask for help. Truthers.
Yeah.
I wish I networked a little bit more,
Okay.
I would say. But for what I want to do with my career, in the stage I'm in right now, I think it was hard for me to like progress my
Yeah.
vacation scheme into what it is, because they don't offer training contracts for their vacation scheme students. It was paralegal work, and it didn't make sense for me to be a paralegal right now in terms of like where I am with my legal journey.
My vacation scheme was a little bit different. When I did mine, it was at an international law firm in London. There was 13 of us on the scheme. The firm that I was applying to and that I did the VAT scheme with, that was the only way to get a training contract, was through a VAT scheme.
Wow.
My worst case scenario would have been going on a VAT scheme and there was like 30 people and only 5 spaces, because I'm a bit like,
What's the point? Yeah.
yeah. My vacation scheme was 2 weeks, and in the first week I sat in dispute resolution, which I actually loved, like working on like really, really big deals. I'd never seen like on paper
That much money.
that much money. Like it was insane. But it was really fun to be a part of. But then in the second week I moved to a more financial seat, which is like hedge funds, like private funds. And it was okay.
I had no fucking idea what I was doing then, and I have no fucking idea what I'm doing now.
It was better than I thought it was going to be,
Yeah.
honestly, because I thought it was going to be really bad. It was not at all aligned with my interests at the time, but it was okay. I did so much research. That was mostly what I was doing for both seats.
So you only had 2 seats?
Yeah, so we did a
okay.
week in each seat. The first time I did a research task, it was a mess. I forgot my notebook. My supervising associate just told me a whole load of instructions, and I just like smiled.
Just smile and wave, boys.
Then I got back and I was like, damn, I can't remember half the things he said. Like, it was so bad. Yeah.
How did you feel when you got feedback?
The feedback I got was really nice. I got feedback a lot on my vacation scheme, which I did really value, because the stuff I got in my first week, I took to the second week to, I guess, try and learn from.
I didn't really get much feedback until I got to one seat, which was employment law. I wrote a letter of response. It was a fictional letter. Everything I did on my vacation scheme was fictional, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, they call it red pen, like the red pen. Is that something that in this firm they were like the red pen experience, right? Boy, did he give me that experience. So he put a whole load of comments like, take this out, don't like this, take this out. He just didn't like the way I worded my letter. I was really upset at first because he made a comment like, this sounds like you want to beat up the person. And at first,
how is that constructive?
Like at first it really upset me. I was like, this really hurt my feelings. I showed my sister, I was like, look how what this lawyer said, like the feedback he gave me. She was like, no, like this genuinely does sound like you want to beat up the person. I think I said something like, it would be in your best interest to like apply or something like that.
Please don't play with me right now.
Sometimes you just have to take your own feelings out of it. And that's something that I genuinely learned, like sometimes it genuinely is something that you need to hear. It's interesting because you did how old were you, like 18, 19?
I had just turned 20.
Oh, yeah. So 20. And then actually I've done mine at 22. I think if I was to do it while I was in uni, I think I would be even worse. I'm still sensitive now. But if I was to do my vac scheme with a firm in uni, I think I would be so sensitive. I'd probably go home like really upset every day. But because I've been working for a few years now, I know the work environment, I know how to take on board criticism.
Work is work. I'm there to work. If you need me to do something, I'll get the job done.
That's kind of an advantage that I've seen going into the industry at this age. Don't take it personally, look at what they're saying. It's to help you at the end of the day. They're not doing it to be spiteful.
I think it's so important, like you say, to just kind of be a little bit more mature about it. It's never really that deep at the end of the day.
Never that deep. Oh, there's so much pressure, aren't there?
So much pressure.
You put so much pressure on yourself to be like, I want to be perfect.
That's the thing, is you want to be perfect and it's not possible.
It's really not. Like, you don't know, you've never done this before. You're not a lawyer. You just want to, I don't know, you want to impress them. You want to seem like you're competent and that you know what you're doing. You just put so much unnecessary pressure on yourself.
I feel like it's unavoidable. In that environment, you're around the people that eventually you want to be doing a job of someday, right? So like, it's stress inducing to me. Like, I feel like it's just natural.
Was yours paid?
It was.
That's good.
But like, you've got to pay for accommodation in London. So I ended up worse off, right? But obviously long term I ended up better off because I managed to get a training contract, right? But in that short term period, it was a financial hit. So we thought we'd also give you some application advice because obviously application season is starting now. Vacation schemes and training contracts are recruiting from August, September, October, even for the summer schemes.
I was intentionally aiming for smaller firms just because in my mind I was like, I want to experience what family law is like. A lot of the big firms, they don't have. It's not.
Oh, that's no. In the sense that, you know what I mean? Like,
it's not a big practice area for them. I used a number of different websites to help me. Lawcareers.net was my favorite. Using their search tools and filtering what type of firm I wanted, where I wanted it. And when I tell you, I applied for everything I saw. Like, it's not even a joke. Whether it was in London, Scotland, Manchester, Wales, anything. If they told me to go to Edinburgh, I would have gone. Like, I was happy to apply to everything. Eventually, I landed with one. Apply for everything, and then I also had like a little cheat sheet, I would say, just of questions that I kept seeing come up. So,
that's such a good idea.
Yeah, so just make a Word document for yourself of questions that just are frequently asked. So like, you know, why do you want to be a lawyer? What is it about your firm that's attracted you to it in the first place?
Why law?
Yeah, exactly. Have that ready on the go so that you don't have to keep writing new answers because that's going to take you ages.
I did a very similar thing. One of the websites I really liked to use for research of firms was Legal Cheek because they have like firm profiles. So this is the thing, no matter what source you use, you need to use multiple.
Exactly.
The firms I was looking at, they have sometimes slightly different information on different websites. So you can't, if you see one thing on one website, you can't just trust it. You have to see a pattern. It's also about people who you talk to. For example, if you're targeting commercial law in London, pretty much anybody at most of the commercial law firms in London know things about other law firms in London. If you asked somebody who's working at a completely unrelated firm what their opinion of a different firm that you're applying to, they're probably going to have some opinion, and that might be different to what you see on Legal Cheek on lawcareers.net. It's all about making sure you have different sources of information and you use them all together. I also made myself like a cheat sheet. I never really shared why, because I thought my research skills were so good, and
Yes,
Low-key.
give us the insight because he secured the training contract, so we need to know what was on that cheat sheet.
There was different things I was researching. I was always looking for recent deals because that showed your commercial awareness. Any recent awards. There's so many different bodies that give awards to law firms. Sweeten them up a little bit.
Oh, I really like you guys.
Yeah, I was so impressed by this award that you did. I also looked at the training, at the actual training contracts we're going to have. Going in with that knowledge showed like I was committed to that firm. Do you know what I mean? But then I had like diversity, equity, inclusion stats, and then environmental stats. Other things that I might have included were like pro bono. So I basically ticked off, like I had a circle of things. And the most important was always the commercial awareness ones. Then it was always awards. What might catch your eye the most? Maybe the pro bono, but that's what the firm doesn't make money on. So from their perspective, they're like, what are you interested in? What is going to make us money?
You paying me?
Certain interviews, you just drop the stat in.
I'm gonna add these to my cheat sheet this application season.
I didn't think about, so I applied to some first year schemes as well in my first year, and I had a telephone interview, which I did get through on and did the first year scheme, but I didn't take a note of the questions that they asked me, and they were really intense questions, and that would have helped me so much more in second year. Ballpark, how many firms did you apply for?
For the vacation scheme?
Yeah.
If I'm being completely honest, around like somewhere between like 30 to 50.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were putting in work. The resilience is so important. I mean, I know people who have literally applied for talking like around 100 and they hear back from like one. Like that is just the
It's
reality.
crazy, yeah.
Like there's always going to be somebody better.
I want to see what you just said written on paper.
On paper, this is what I mean. There might be somebody on paper who's more qualified.
Yeah.
But like things like just personality and how well you gel with people at the firm goes a very long way.
It goes it's just as important, to be honest.
Exactly. And they might have straight firsts at uni, they might have literally paralegal for 10 years. But if no one at the firm gets on with them, then it's just not likely that they'll get the job. There are luck-based elements, I guess, no matter how qualified on paper that you are. So now we think we should talk about how to act on a vacation scheme, because I think that's also like a really good point. When you go on to your vacation scheme, what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to say? How do you network with people? So what would you say your biggest tip for somebody starting their VAC scheme? What would you say your biggest tip would be for them before going on to kind of prepare?
Before going on, I would say do your research on the firm into what it is that they practice, especially if you get told what seats you're going to be in. Make sure you do your research into what like cases they've got going on right now. And if they tell you who you've got, like who the names of the associate is, stalk them on LinkedIn. Stalk them on LinkedIn, like find out what they're up to right now. The firm that I went to anyway, they gave me a little like vacation scheme journal, and they gave me and they also gave me their own personal tips of how they wanted me to act.
Is she serious?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they gave me like, this is what you should do, this is how you should act, this is when you should come in. They gave me their own personal information. So if your firm does that, just make sure you're on top of your email, because I feel like I'm getting so much emails. When it comes to that, read everything. Everything is important.
Lunchtime, how does it work in the office vibe?
Okay, so I'm gonna split into two of what you should do and what I did. Those are two different things.
Yeah.
What you should do, go to lunch with your colleagues every day, talk to them, try and like bond with them, ask them for any advice. Okay, I didn't do that every day. I just really struggled with it. The imposter syndrome killed me.
Who am I? And why do I exist?
I was so shocked because I was like, I live in Hertfordshire. I went to predominantly white schools all my life. I went to uni, predominantly white area. I'm always in spaces where I'm the minority. So I was very shocked when I came into this firm, and then like imposter syndrome killed me. I was like, I don't know why I'm sitting here right now. And it was so funny because I was like, this is all in my head. I don't feel this way towards you.
They wouldn't have brought you in otherwise.
That's what I'm saying. It's all in my head, but it was just killing me. I just started to eat lunch on my own and like just walk around. Meeting new people can be overwhelming for some people. You have your 1 hour to yourself. Don't feel guilty about it, because at the end of the day, what is the most important thing is your work. So you don't want to come back and then like, it's all fun and games that they may like you, but then you're like, yeah, she was cool, but she couldn't do the work. Or would you be like, yeah, okay, she was a little bit quiet, but her work is really good.
Yeah.
I would have preferred that.
On my VAC scheme, obviously there was quite a few of us VAC schemers. So for me, at least I had like a buffer, like at lunchtime, like there was a little group of us. So sometimes we did stay and network with people at the firm. There were a few days, obviously we were there for 2 weeks. So I feel like if we tried to network with them every day, they would have been like, leave me alone. because at the end of the day, it's their lunch break as well, right?
Yeah.
They want to relax. Did you have any networking events while at the firm? No.
Yeah, obviously smaller firm.
Yeah.
That's another downside to the smaller firms.
But I mean, I think that just shows that you've got to take the chances when you get them, right? Because sometimes the best networking is when there's not a whole load of people and you are just one-on-one with someone. Something that I really kind of realized on my back scheme is, yeah, these people are lawyers, but they're also people. Like, they do also have lives outside of law, and talking to them constantly about law, you might get further if you talk to them about a different shared interest. Do you know what I mean? If you've got networking events set up for you and say they have free alcohol and drinks included, like, that's amazing. Like, have fun, but also remember you are at a networking event.
Yeah, stick to the very small percentages. Water.
Yeah. It's very valid to not drink at one of these events if you don't want to. Like, that's totally up to you. And there are people that don't drink at these events. I've been to some of them now from the other perspective, and I haven't drank at some of these events. Like, it's not required in any way, shape or form. Even if you are drinking, you need to make sure you don't embarrass yourself, because it will come back and haunt you years later. Some of the horror stories I've heard of people who have done things on back schemes, these people obviously didn't convert them to training contracts. I don't really know what I can say, but like, some of them are crazy.
I want to know.
It's crazy. Like, you're always in a work environment. Even if you're not actually in the office, it's always a work environment. So the last thing we were going to talk about is how to convert a vacation scheme into a training contract. It kind of goes a little bit with what we've just said. What do you think would be your biggest tip to somebody? They've got a back scheme already, they're looking to get a training contract out of it.
My biggest tip would definitely be make sure that the firm you're applying to does offer that at the end. Not my firm didn't. If that's something that you want, you need to make sure that you're actively applying for firms that offer that at the end of your vacation scheme. But as long as you're working hard, networking correctly, making sure that you're on time, the quality of your work is good, I don't see why you wouldn't get it, unless it's like a very, very small percentage of spaces that they have.
That goes into research is finding out on estimate how many places that they have per back schemer, especially some of the big firms, particularly some American firms. They have a lot of VAC schemers and very, very few places for training contracts. So it can be quite competitive on the schemes to actually turn that into a training contract. But yeah, like you say, the most important thing is how you work. If your work is good, you're on a good track to convert it into a training contract.
Exactly.
Cut the check!
Thanks for joining us. If you don't follow Tayo already, drop the socials.
Tayo, TAYO_ANI on TikTok.
Hope you enjoyed. Thank you.
Bye guys. That was so cute. We're actually true yappers.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.